Rock here. Last week I discussed exercising board-level oversight of your cybersecurity program by bridging the tactical operations to the organizational strategy. As a reminder, COSO has 5 guiding principles, and we're still under that first guiding principle of governance and culture, which has 5 points. Exercise board risk oversight, establish operating structures, define desired culture, demonstrate a core commitment to values, attract, develop, and retain capable individuals. This week, we're going to discuss how cybersecurity applies to that second point, which is establish operating structures. So what does this mean for you? For cybersecurity risk to be treated as an enterprise risk rather than an IT risk, cybersecurity teams cannot operate in a vacuum. Establishing a cybersecurity steering committee is non-negotiable. In fact, do whatever you can to fight for it. This fight happened to me. In a prior role, I was discouraged from creating such a committee. I was new in my job, and I didn't think I had enough political capital to push back. To this day, I regret this as one of the biggest failures of my career because of all the negative downhill effect it had on my tenure there. Please learn from my mistake and fight, tactfully, of course. The Cybersecurity Steering Committee should consist of representation from each business unit. This may include, but isn't necessarily limited to, executive leadership, IT, legal, HR, accounting, finance, sales, marketing, operations, and any other business unit that is appropriate for your organization. The committee should be chaired by the CISO or the equivalent and provide a two-way forum for communication between the various business units and cybersecurity. This allows the cybersecurity team to gain an understanding of critical data and processes that must be protected for each business unit, solicit input from each business unit when proposing new security controls, review new and existing risks and their treatments alongside with the risk owners. Implementing new security controls is much more effective when cybersecurity is done with the business and not to the business. A vital benefit of the steering committee is bringing diversity of thought to various security issues. Through this steering committee, cybersecurity can become a business enabler instead of posing as a roadblock. And here's an example of how. The sales team might say that they can't get easy access to customer records and notes through the organization's customer relationship management system while they're on the road. So, IT might propose a SaaS-based solution or enable more mobility through a mobile application management solution. Cybersecurity can then discuss the investment required to secure the solution consistent with the organization's risk appetite, and executive leadership can be made aware of the investment required to implement a complete solution. Here are some things that you can do right away. First, be sure to establish the charter, mandate, and scope of your committee. Ensure that the committee has a mission and that the scope and responsibilities are clearly defined. Then, establish an executive champion, and this should be someone on the executive leadership team other than the CISO. Then, identify and define the committee chair, and this should be the CISO or the equivalent. And then, clearly identify the committee members. Next, establish a meeting cadence and stick to it. I find that cybersecurity steering committees are most effective when they meet about monthly, but I've seen anything from bi-weekly to quarterly meetings. But do what's best for your organization. But at a minimum, the steering committee should meet before every board meeting, so that way the committee can jointly prepare the brief that may be presented to the board. Spread knowledge throughout the steering committee. If the CISO leaves, you don't want all of the knowledge regarding the cybersecurity program walking out the door with them. So develop a succession plan and manage continuity. This also helps to ensure that other committee members remain engaged. And finally, communicate, communicate, and communicate. Develop a strategy for sharing the non-sensitive outputs of the steering committee to the rest of the organization. So for instance, you wouldn't want to disclose a critical cyber risk to the entire organization, but you certainly would want to broadcast when a new policy has been approved and published. In next week's video, I'm going to talk about that third COSO point under governance and culture, which is define desired culture. As always, I love your comments. Please leave them below, but if you want to have a direct conversation, just shoot me a message and we'll set something up. Until then, have a great week.